Selling Online Today, featuring Joe from redherringgames.com.
If you've picked the right people, you will get invaluable advice, and you'll get it for free.
Making a great living by selling online is possible if you know who to turn to for help. Welcome to Selling Online Today, the show that features the winners of the online sales world sharing their stories of domination of eBay, Amazon, or their own sites. Here's your host, Patrick Conlin.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Selling Online Today, the show that brings you all you need to know to successfully sell online in today's changing environment. Well, we have a great guest with us today. It's Joe from redherringgames.com. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Joe has a fascinating business, all to do with mystery murder dinner events and party accessories and gifts and different bits and pieces. That's red-herring-games.com. And she's based in Grimsby in the United Kingdom. She's been running this business in 2007. She's built it all up from zero. I'm just going to hand it right over to Joe to fill us in a bit more on what exactly it is you do and how you got into this fascinating business. Joe, take it away.
Thank you. We are an online retailer of murder mystery games, gifts and accessories. We kind of got into it by chance. I was hoping to run a coffee shop. I decided to leave work and thought, I'll run a coffee shop because I'm really good at cooking. And we decided that we had no money. We went to a bank and they said, no, sorry, you need a deposit of a ridiculous amount of money, which we didn't have. Mm-hmm. But I was already writing myself anyway. I originally started with murder mystery games because the church I was working with, the youth group, wanted to run one, and all the boxes you could buy in the shops, it didn't tell you the content on any of the boxes. So we played a couple and found out there was a transvestite in one. Well, we couldn't use that with the church youth group. We found out there was somebody having sex in the back room was in another one. So again, you couldn't use that with the church youth group. I think the parents would have lynched me. So I said, don't worry, I'll write my own. So I'd started writing games just for church use. And when we went to approach the bank about the coffee shop and they turned us down because of the deposit, friends of ours said, why don't you sell your games? Because I'd already got 5 I'd written by that point. And I thought, I suppose it might bring in a little bit of pennies to help us towards the deposit. And I started selling the games online through another platform that wasn't actually mine. I just worked for another company. And after a year or two, I thought, goodness, I could actually sell these myself and make a bit more money than I am currently as an author, and approached a firm locally to set up with. And so they sort of joined forces with us, provided the website initially on a sort of commission basis, and we set up selling murder mystery games. So I started with probably about 12, and we've now got over 100.
So for those of our listeners who aren't into the whole murder mystery game, which is designed specifically for you, give us a rundown of how someone would go about. It's an event which takes place in your home. Is it based around a meal or an event, or? Yeah,
we actually do several different formats. We do the games that you play at home. We sort of call ours, they're not scripted, they're not formal in that respect, but they are structured. So they lead you from A to B, and they're really good for first-timers, but they're also good for people who've played murder mystery games before and know what they're doing, because it gives them enough leeway to ad-lib. But for people who've never played a game before, it's structured enough that if you've never played something like this before, you know exactly what you're saying and when you're saying it. But the games that we do, they're the ones you run in the house. So each of you takes a suspect role. You invite round 8 people for dinner. The detective's on CD, so nobody knows who the murderer is. You all take part as an equal suspect. You've all got things to say. It's provided within the booklet for you to say what you want. And then at the end of the night, the solution is provided and everybody goes, oh, goodness, I didn't know it was you. Or they've worked out who it is, in which case they congratulate each other on being an excellent Miss Marple. And then we also do full scripts to run in restaurants. So we've got like an event management service, but we're probably the only event management company that provide murder mysteries that also provide our scripts for people to use in a domestic setting and commercially. So you can decide as a restaurant, I want to put on a murder mystery, but I don't want to pay an arm and a leg to put a murder mystery company on. I've got 3 or 4 people I know that can act quite well. They're quite happy to do it for tea and biscuits. You could buy a commercial license from us to run a game in your restaurant and pay probably a third the price you would do to hire an acting group in.
For a restaurant, I suppose they're thinking, well, if I organise one of these events, it's going to bring people in to dine first.
Yeah, it's a good marketing ploy. People always want upsell these days. So if you're a restaurant and you're offering just a dinner, well, you could go for dinner anywhere. But if you can get dinner and a murder mystery, it's like, oh, well, they're offering something different. So it's a good selling feature for them. We've also worked with the likes of Museums at Night, doing programs for them. So they're trying to get people interested in coming into a museum. And it's a charitable thing. So we run murder mysteries within the museum, which we've custom written for the museum to bring people in at night. It's something a little bit different. So again, it's a bit of an upsell. You can come to the museum, or you can come to the museum with a murder mystery on. And we do things for corporate groups, fundraising. We get involved with a lot of fundraisers, church PTAs.
Yeah, so I'm thinking there's almost three markets here. You have your business to business, which is you selling it to the restaurant and them getting their benefit from that. You've then got your business to consumer, which is directly to me as a dad who has friends locally, and let's get together and do a come down with me / murder mystery.
Yeah, we get involved with come down with me fairly often.
Yeah, and then thirdly, you've got your charity groups, your non-profits, in which case it's probably a fundraising event for them, and you're providing a service to make that all the more entertaining.
We also do event management, so obviously we're doing the business-to-business on event management side, things with team building and corporate entertainment, but also we sell into trade, so you can buy our products to stock in your own shop.
Yes, and from looking from your website, which is really easily laid out anyway, it's very clear, very crisp, which is good. It's not too mind-boggling. I get a clear idea of what it is you offer right away, which is important.
I think that's funny you say that, because we're actually redesigning it because we hate it. This will be the third redesign in the space of 2 years. Well,
listen, for someone who has just landed on it out of the blue and wants to have a clear enough navigation, I can immediately, the colours are clear, the red and white is very crisp, there's a nice white background. These are positives that I'm pointing out just as I look at it. You've got one scrolling banner, which is fine, the rest of it is static. That's okay. And then you've got a list of the different areas. You'll obviously internally have different things that you'll want to stress, but looking initially, it's fine. You also have your party accessories. I suppose then I can go in and buy my pack in some shape or form. So yeah, but listen, that's the thing about online business, isn't it? The website, which I currently have now, isn't the first iteration. It goes through a metamorphosis so that taking into consideration what your customers are saying to you back and what you're learning as an online retailer, it ultimately will change.
It's not a static. I mean, people assume they put a website up, but it's actually not a static thing. You have to keep looking at your website, tweaking it, changing it, adjusting it. We started off with an OS Commerce website, which, I mean, it's very 1980s almost now. People don't have them anymore. And we were looking around for a replacement, ended up with PrestaShop, which kind of fills a hole in the middle of Magento and OzCommerce and Drupal. But actually, we're looking at changing again into Magento. So people are always changing their websites. They never should just put one up and leave it there for 80 years. It's never going to sell anything. We've noticed a difference between, we originally launched those commerce, and as that platform got less and less popular, our sales dropped off. So we knew we needed to do something to refresh the website, which is why this new one's up at the moment and why we're changing again to yet another platform for the same reason.
And is that something which you have internal team members taking care of, or do you outsource that to another company?
No, we looked at it within the last year, looked at bringing a team in, and we actually decided it was more cost effective to outsource it. So
yes.
We retain a group to do it, somebody who's a complete, that they design for some very, very well-known brands. The current team we've got who are regenerating the website again. But I think it's very important to outsource it to somebody who knows what they're doing, because actually website work is a lot harder than you might think. Mm-hmm. And to get it right is a lot harder than you might think. And whilst I've virtually built the PrestaShop shop myself because of the situation we were in at the time, and PrestaShop's very easy to do. If you've never built one and need something quick, you can do it without having a lot of experience whatsoever.
Yes.
But I don't have the skills to get all the SEO right and know what Google's looking for and things. So.
Well, I wish you all the best in your next iteration of your website. Am I right in saying that you may also have a bricks and mortar outlet?
We do, yeah. We've also got a shop office in Grimsby itself, and we are regularly getting asked whether we've got premises in Canada. So that might be the next thing.
Why Canada?
We just have a lot of international clients.
Oh, very good.
So a lot of people are looking to buy from us abroad.
Well, you'll not turn that down, I'm sure.
No.
Whenever it comes along. So you've been selling online, strictly speaking, from 2007.
From 2007, yeah.
Yeah, that gives you a good basis to grow your business. We know the difficulties which are fraught with starting a website-only business and building it up. Did you move quickly into Amazon or eBay, or did you start with any of those platforms? Can you fill us in a bit about what you did there?
We didn't start with any of them. We initially focused on getting our website right. Actually, we didn't have a bricks and mortar shop before we started the website either, so the website was the thing that came first.
Okay.
And after a couple of years on the website, we thought, we ought to try. We were just originally getting rid of old stock on eBay.
Yes.
So we got rid of some old stock on eBay and thought, well, we really ought to look at having an eBay presence all the time. So we then put up proper stock on eBay and run it as an eBay shop. It doesn't generate a phenomenal amount of income month in, month out on eBay, but it ticks over and it brings people back into the website, which is what it was there for. Amazon we launched probably about 3 years ago, so it wasn't the first thing we did. Because a lot of our products we create ourselves, the difficulty we had with Amazon when we first looked into it was that we don't have any barcodable products.
Yes.
So what we had to do first was register with GS1 to obtain barcoding, and then once we got a barcode for all our products, we could then list on Amazon. So it kind of came together once we got the barcodes. But because it is a unique product and because they have to be the same if you got a barcode, we had to make sure we had everything correct. And then we were able to list on Amazon. Actually, Amazon does generate a phenomenal amount of sales for us, so it was a good platform to drop onto.
And probably a good thing in as much as when you go through the whole GS1 process and register for your barcodes and have your own product, sometimes that's a unique enough selling point within Amazon, because there is a lot of competition for the generic, well-known brands, albeit you may sell volume, but sometimes you're then competing against absolutely everybody. This
is it. You compete against everybody. And we do have products we shift on Amazon that are barcoded that we've bought in, but we never generate enough return on those. You're always competing with people who are offering it at half price, and you can't maintain that. You never maintain enough of a sales thing to keep undercutting people.
Yes, absolutely. So for someone who's starting off, would you recommend that to not exclude creating your own product or coming up with your own product and barcoding it and selling it on Amazon, because long term that's probably where the most amount of sales revenue and profit can actually come from? Yeah,
I would agree with you there. I mean, the best thing we did was get the barcode. I mean, the barcoding wasn't expensive to sort out, and I would certainly caution against people buying a barcode. They really need to register for GS1, because if there's so many scams out there and you think, it's only £5, I could have a barcode and I've only got one product, but the £100 to invest in GS1 means you have your own barcode and you've not been caught by a scam that when you try and list on Amazon, somebody else has got the same barcode as you on a totally different product.
Absolutely.
Which is what we've actually encountered when we're selling. We had a product we bought in from a reputable supplier, and they had a product that nicked the same barcode. And when we tried to list it on Amazon, we had to go through a whole rigmarole to try and get the original barcode that Amazon had got related to the product that shouldn't have owned it off in order to list the product that had the right barcode on.
Yes. Well, Joe, you're telling us right off that immediately is a lot of value for our listeners. The barcoding itself, take it seriously. Register if you're listening in the UK and Ireland. You're going to be selling your products on amazon.co.uk. Don't mess about. I am aware that there are some dodgy enough outfits where it seems like you're buying legit barcodes, but you're absolutely right. It is a breeze to go through GS1. It's a bit more expensive, but you can't underestimate the importance when it comes to having your products properly listed.
Yeah, definitely.
Am I sensing then that you prefer Amazon over eBay when it comes to the third-party marketplaces just because of the results?
Yeah, Amazon's definitely better. I mean, we've got a product that's, I suppose, a luxury product, probably the best to describe it. People wouldn't search for a murder mystery game on eBay unless they were looking for some cheap. It's been played before, I'll have one of those. And I tend to find the people that shop on eBay are the people looking for a bargain. They aren't the people looking to spend to get a quality item, whereas the people on Amazon are the people who are spending because they want a quality product or they want something that's new. So Amazon for us, because of the price point our product is at, Amazon will sell much more than eBay will ever sell on there.
Yes. Well, that's good. It does definitely depend on the market. What about the international listing tool within Amazon? Do you then push them out to other countries? It sounds like Canada is one.
Yes, we've joined Fulfilled by Amazon in Canada and in the USA as well. So what we do, rather than trying to do the international one from the UK, we've actually sent stock over to Amazon in the States, and we do Fulfilled by Amazon in the States and in Canada as well.
Wow. Well, I take my hat off to you there. That's a third step in the process of becoming a a multimillionaire online because
yeah.
You start off with listing your products on Amazon, then you dabble into listing them on the European marketplaces, then you sign up to Amazon.com where you're selling on America and Canada, then you fulfill a little in the UK, and then you move to the US. So you're at the end of that journey.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, because that takes an awful lot of effort and persistence.
I've got a good team around me. We just keep pushing all the time.
It's quite niche and it's nice. Have you ever had any unexpected orders in your business where you've sort of highlighted Canada a little? Is there anything there that would inspire our listeners?
We've had loads of unexpected orders. I mean, I suppose in terms of unexpected, we were approached by the Only Way is Essex. I don't know whether that's ITV. I think it's ITV, isn't it?
Yes.
They found us online. They'd searched for murder mysteries, and because we do bespoke and custom written and everything else, they were looking for a murder mystery for the TV show.
Wow.
And they approached us, and we had to turn that around within about 72 hours.
Wow.
So that was a big, big excitement in 2012 was the Only Way is Essex that just dropped into our lap straight out of the blue. And because we're so easy to get hold of, we've got our telephone number on there, we've got emails, and I'm very, very quick at responding to emails. A lot of people are surprised at how fast our customer service is. They email in and within a day they've got a response. Because we're that quick and because our turnaround's that fast and because you can get hold of us easily and we tell everybody what our email address is and what our telephone number is and where you can find us,
yes.
We get inquiries regularly from television companies and research companies and things like that just drop into our laps because people can reach us quick. So, when they're thinking about doing something, we were called by the One Show a few weeks ago. Never came to anything because they decided they didn't have enough time to pull it off. And we've been contacted by a group working for Sky who were looking at launching True Detectives into the UK market. We pitched and again didn't get it, but those kind of opportunities just drop in. We don't look for them; they just arrive, and that's really good.
Yes, but you say they just drop into your lap. What you have said indirectly, and I think is a very valuable lesson for our listeners here too, is that you're not afraid of putting your phone number on your website, putting your email address for people to see. I immediately see it when I land. I see your logo, a tagline, and your telephone number and email. And believe it or not, there are some business owners that I've worked with in the past that have said, no, I don't want my number up there for people to see.
There's lots of people that won't put their telephone number on an email. And actually, I generally don't shop with people who you can't trace. It annoys me as a shopper to go onto a website and think, well, I can't get hold of them. I was trying to get hold of fibre optic to go into the house just the other day. And I went on to several different providers' websites, and I couldn't even and I actually wanted them to give me a quote, and I couldn't find their telephone number.
I know.
And you think, well, I actually want you to give me a quote, and I can't actually get hold of you at all.
Yes, well, that's basic customer service. And you're right, you're either in the online business to sell your product or you're not. You can't be a half-baked e-commerce provider. You can't just say, I'm going to give it a go, but I don't want nutcases calling me on the phone is one that I've heard before in the past. Well, that's part of it. You get people that ask you silly questions. They go on and ask you, well, what size is the police badge that you have on sale? Well, even if it's there or what colour, it's all there, but you still have to answer the silly questions too. People sometimes are lazy, especially nowadays. I mean, the amount of times that I've been asked, Joe, what the heel size is of a shoe that's clearly written on the description of the shoe, I could write a book. But, it's part of it. They just want to ask. It's easier. I'll ask them.
It's easier to ask somebody, yeah.
So the fact that you've given them that avenue surely must stand to you, and ultimately it helps with those inquiries. So
it does. And there's a huge generation of silver surfers out there who, whilst they're quite happy to surf, don't want to buy online. They want to ring up and speak to somebody. So we deal with an awful lot of silver surfers who are quite happy to have looked. They've looked around, and the people they contact are the ones they've got the telephone number for.
Yes.
And they will place the order over the phone. They won't do it over the internet.
That's a very valid point, and I love the way you've artistically worded that, the silver surfer. That's very diplomatic and very... You can tell you're a writer. Your vocabulary is already shining through as being more creative than the average person. So well done there. So what about social media? I do notice that you have a good Facebook page there. Do you find that there's a lot of talk in the social scene about, social media marketing and you've got to do this and you've got to do that. Has it helped you? Has it been a bit of a white elephant?
We do Facebook and Twitter. I've not really got my head around Google Plus or Pinterest or Instagram or any of the other ones. So we focus on two that I understand because I just think I can get my head around those. And eventually we'll look at Pinterest and the rest when I've got my head around it, which I haven't yet. Twitter has been really good for us business-wise. We entered and won Thea Pavitas' Small Business Sunday And on the back of that, obviously, we got an awful lot of press, and we've had an awful lot of recognition because that was a big award that we got. We've met Theo Pafitas, we've had our photograph taken with him.
Good.
Exciting things like that. So Twitter's been really good for that, and we've actually had bookings from Twitter contacts. We had customers that have been to events, saw we had a Twitter handle, tweeted us to say what a fantastic night they had, and then actually contacted their local hotel and said, why aren't you using Red Herring Games? We've just been to a fantastic night with them. And they actually got us a booking through Twitter pressure, I suppose you could call it.
Okay.
We didn't actually ask the hotel for the business. We didn't contact the hotel directly. She just carried on tweeting the hotel until they got us a booking. So Twitter's lovely for that. Facebook is really good when people are searching for you anyway and they just want to talk to you. Some people will contact us through Facebook to get quotes and inquiries, but I would say probably sales-wise through Facebook it's harder to track. But we know we've caught business through Twitter.
Yeah, and what about Google AdWords? Do you invest a little in that?
Google AdWords we use, and you have to know exactly what you're doing with Google AdWords to make it make the most money. I'm not a whiz on Google AdWords, and it's one of those things that, again, I would outsource to get support for, which we haven't got the money to outsource yet because Google AdWords actually outsourced is very expensive. And when I sort of say I'm spending 150 quid a month on Google AdWords, they kind of snigger at the end of the phone and sort of, that's not enough. So once I've got £1,000 budget for Google AdWords, I'll approach an outsourced person. But at the moment, I ring up Google and we chat on the phone and I work out what needs to be put onto it. And I do a lot of work with them directly.
Well, you know, sometimes it's not to be sneezed at. That's a good approach initially, but I do work with several businesses that have large PPC campaigns, product listing ad campaigns, and every client's different and every market's different and every markup's different. So my advice to anyone initially is definitely be promoting the higher cost items through Google AdWords because it's quite hard to compete on a pound, you know. Yeah,
we wouldn't want to be marketing the crime scene tape. That would just be a waste of money.
Well, you couldn't possibly have always been into murder mystery games. What is your background?
Oh, I trained as an occupational therapist and worked for the NHS.
Oh, well, very good.
So, nothing. I've always been a writer. I've been a writer ever since I was in primary school. I won poetry competitions and all sorts of things.
So it's great now to be able to use those skills, obviously, by writing the scripts.
It is, yeah. And I'm still probably the biggest writer on the website that we have, although I have mentored other writers into...
I do notice you do have a blog. Do you find that the blog offers good SEO traffic back to your site?
Yeah, the blog's primarily there for SEO and also to put things on that we think, actually, I'd like to link to that from the newsletter because your newsletters are really good, but you can't put everything in newsletters because people don't read newsletters, they skim, and they might click to find out more information. So the blog's a really good place of holding information that you want people to click through to. You can't just keep building page after page after page on your website. So whilst you might have some good question and answer pages, they're better held within the blog, and then you can direct people to those pages. But SEO is the main reason for having the blog up there.
So you personally, Joe, I take it on your special to-do wish list will be eventually to write your own book on how to write murder mysteries, I guess.
I've already started, actually. We've got a book that we looked into getting it self-published. It's not long enough to have it published. And to be honest, I keep approaching agents about novels that I write, and they keep saying no, and I got fed up of rejections. But we do have a book already that people can buy on how to write their own, because, again, a lot of people think, you're just taking the money away from yourself if people want to write their own. But the thing is, people go out and write their own anyway, so you might as well give them a book.
Yes.
And they can buy the book off you and go and write their own, as opposed to not buying anything from you at all and writing their own.
Yes, as far as I'm aware, you can actually publish chapters on Amazon self-publishing, and even sell them.
Yes.
You know, by chapters. You don't actually necessarily need to have the full book. And it actually ends up being a bit of a marketing and PR plug for your business, because it ultimately will get back to... lead people back in. I mean, that's one of the reasons we were looking at writing the book and why we're eventually going to launch it onto Amazon. But at the moment, we just need the money to pay for it to get printed. Yes, well, within the area of marketing, there's this term which you hear bantered around a lot at the moment, which is called multicasting, where it's the one piece of information which you spend time preparing, in this case, whether it be a blog and whatnot, and to get it out to as many channels as possible to really take advantage of that marketing that you've invested time in writing and get it to the biggest platform possible. But anyway, moving quickly on, because we've only about 5 minutes left and I don't want to overindulge in your generosity regarding time. What is the best advice you've ever received for your business?
Customer service is never good enough, would be the best advice I've had. I went to a training course once on customer service. I wasn't expecting to be on customer service, but that is what the training course turned into be. And he said, your customer service will never, ever be good enough. Always look at improving your customer service. Always think of some way to make your customers more excited about the service they've received. And one of the things he suggested were, they went over loads of different options, but it was things like putting sweets in with a mail order because people don't expect them. And it's giving people the unexpected in customer service that will make them come back.
I'm a big fan of Felix Dennis, who's an English. He was a poet also in his later life. He owned a lot of magazines in the UK and just passed away last year. And he used to say in one of his books, there's no victory over customers.
No.
So because there's not, you might as well give them the best treatment possible. And sometimes that's very hard.
Sometimes it's very difficult. But actually, we had a customer come back just this week who has been on the phone regularly. And this is another one of our, like you said about the website, the answers are all there, but they ring you. And she's been back over and over and over and over again. And anyway, the last time she rang back, and I thought, oh, goodness, here she is again. And she said, I want to give you a tip. And she actually gave us 20 quid.
Oh, wow.
Thanks for the customer service.
Yeah.
Although sometimes it's like, oh, goodness, not again. Every now and again, you get a real gem of a customer who recognises that you've gone over and above, and they will come back and give you a tip for the good customer service.
Funny you say that. Also on my own website where we're selling women's shoes, we can actually see when a person orders again. There's a little avatar which appears beside their name, which we can actually see they have purchased in the past.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see those returning customers. So we've received your words of wisdom on the best advice you've ever received. What would you say your biggest strength as a business owner is?
It's our customer service. We work really hard on that.
But you personally, is it your good way about you, or have you any other qualities which you think, yeah, I'm good at this?
The one thing I would say I'm probably good at is knowing that I don't know everything. I will go out and I will find advice. A lot of people become know-it-alls, and I'm not a know-it-all in business. I'm the first to put my hand up and say, I trained at the NHS, I haven't got a Scooby, what's going on? So I will go out and find advice, find people for the right jobs. I don't try and do the bookkeeping in-house, I outsource that. Because I know I can't do numbers.
Well, there was a guy that said that before you. His name was Socrates, and he was based in Greece. And he says, the beginning of knowledge is knowing that you don't know everything.
Yeah.
There's another quote that I learned years ago, which said, when you hire people that are smarter than you are, you prove that you're smarter than they are.
Yeah.
How about that? So, and any weaknesses, Joe?
I'm sure there's loads. I don't like listing them. My husband would be the first to point out loads of weaknesses. My biggest being I'm impatient.
Well, that's okay.
I don't like waiting for anything. I don't even like waiting for the kettle to boil or the toast to pop or anything to happen. So you'll quite often see me pacing around the office if I'm waiting for things to happen. The printers aren't printing fast enough. You name it. There's always something that I'm impatient about in the day.
Yes, well, that's a weakness of sorts, but it can also be a positive. What advice would you give to someone starting out?
Get the right advice. There's an awful lot of business advisors out there who are business advisors because their business failed or because they thought it would be the next logical step in their business, and quite often business advisors aren't the best people to advise in business. What I would suggest is finding people, good suppliers that you trust, who are actually experts in their field, or who you've seen them do something, you think, actually, I could learn a lot from you. And actually just asking, going up to them and just saying, what do you think about this? And they will often help. Because you've put them on a pedestal and they think, oh, goodness, she thinks I know what I'm talking about. And they will quite willingly part with advice because you're willing to defer to them. So they will quite often give you advice. And if you've picked the right people, you will get invaluable advice. And you will get it for free.
Well, believe it or not, Joe, you have actually provided loads of very, very valuable advice to our listeners today. I can spot many lessons and many words of advice, and that's invaluable, and we really appreciate you taking the time on, because yes, at Selling Online Today, that's what we want. We want real business owners that are in the thick of it every day, selling on their website, Amazon, eBay, and to talk to us about what's really happening. And it has been very refreshing, and your enthusiasm comes across. And we really do wish you the best in all your different endeavours, because it sounds like you have a lot going on. Just remind our listeners again where they can find you again if they want to touch base.
Well, the quickest way to find us will be our actual website, which is www.red-herring-games.co.uk. But if you get lost with the hyphens, just type Red Herring Games into Google. We're probably the first on the page, so you shouldn't have trouble finding us.
Okay. That's great. And it has been a pleasure talking to you, and I really hope that our paths cross again, and we look forward to chatting to you again.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take the time right now to go to sellingonlinetoday.com and gain instant access to tons of free resources to help you in your online selling journey. We'll see you next time on Selling Online Today.